All right. Hello, Idiots on Parade, the Too Ugly for TV podcast. We mock the news so you don't have to. That's my news voice, Jake.
Nice.
Jake, hello.
This is my news voice. This is the fucking news. I'm going to tell you what's going on.
That's Jake Vevra, stand-up comedian in New York City. I am Nathan Timmel, stand-up comedian in Iowa City. Oh, I'm even wearing that shirt. I didn't even realize that. Iowa City. All our creativity was used on the name, I think. Yeah, we used all our creativity. We are recording on January 15th, so we should be up to date with the news. If you are listening on Chicago's Comedy Scene Radio Network, hello. Hi, Chicago.
Thank you, Chicago.
Jake, let's jump right in. I don't know what story I sent you to go first. Let's do Biden. Let's do Biden's getting secret documents all over the place, top secret classified documents. We can talk about it in detail in a second. I just wanted to, since we like making fun of the news media on here, CNN Politics tweeted this: classified documents found. Joe Biden under 12 total, some top secret. He is cooperating. Wait, let's back up there. Under 12 total? That is some fierce reporting right there. What is under 12 total? You can't just say 10 or 9 or 11 or... I just thought that was such an odd figure, and I didn't send it to you.
Dude, I mean, it's a big number. You got to estimate with large numbers like that. You can't, dude, if I hold out both my hands, I can't count that high on my fingers. I got to start guessing. All right. I'll give you an accurate count up to 10, up to this many. After that, I mean, it might as well be algebra. We might as well start adding letters to this. I'm confused.
What if you had to take off your shoes and count on your tootsies?
I'm not counting on my tootsies, dude. They're far away. And plus, I got weird toes that kind of bend weird. It's hard to keep an accurate count with them. I'm not making that mistake again.
When you said it's a big number, the first thought I had was it's like pi. It just keeps going. 3.14, whatever. You got to shorten it. Everybody knows 3.14. Nobody knows what comes after that. So here I was about to complain about CNN. Jake, you've turned me around.
That's right.
CNN
what am I going to do?
Nailed it.
What am I going to do? Get a calculator for this? I don't trust machines. I've seen too many Terminator movies. Fuck that. It's going to give me wrong information on purpose. That's how Skynet takes over.
What I was about to say when you busted in with the best take I've ever heard, like an hour later, I didn't send this to you. They did tweet out it was 10 documents. So I was like, oh, well,
you go.
You did bring it down to on the two hands there, CNN. Good job. Way to go from under 12. It could be anything, could be 1, it could be 11, but it's not going to be 13.
That's right. 10. Now we know for sure.
Now we know. But that was before the second treasure trove was discovered. Apparently he had one in law offices he used and another set at home now. I want to know why, and I follow these people on Twitter, why I have not seen Republicans calling for his impeachment. I've seen a lot of them calling for investigations and saying, oh, you said Trump was a bad guy for his secret. I say we impeach Biden. Let's do it. Why not?
Let's do it. No, they can't call for his impeachment. Here's why. And it's sort of a weird it's a weird box both sides of the aisle are on this one. We've done a thing ever since Hillary Clinton's emails where we have to take a president who's a little bit older, or you know what I mean, like a high up politician who's a little bit older, been handling classified documents forever. Let's face it, their daily briefings are all classified.
Yeah.
If they wipe their ass, the paper they do it with is classified.
I was just gonna say they get a weather report. It's the classified weather report.
Right. Yeah. You can't know which way these winds are blowing. Not you, general public. Yeah. So everything they have is classified. They tend to be bad with technology and they're forgetful, older people. So you have 3 instances, and there's differences between the 3. I also did 4 fingers right now, trying to show 3. So maybe I'm not the best person to school anybody.
Do the German versus the British, whatever.
That's right. I remember Bastards. That scene in Inglourious Bastards.
Yes.
That's right. Got him fucking shot because we gave him away.
Killed when you do it the wrong way.
Yeah. But you have 3 people who basically They get a lot of top secret documents. They all got a little loosey goosey with the docs. You know what I mean? With protocols, they weren't giving it away to anybody. They weren't,
Yeah.
giving it to WikiLeaks or whatever the fuck. They weren't
What
going all Chelsea Manning on this.
as far as I know, with Biden, it was sort of. I mean, these are they found it in a closet. There was the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. They just boxed it up and shoved it in a corner and left it be. It wasn't like, and I hate to compare, but it wasn't like Trump's where they found it on the desk and on the floor and anybody could walk into there. Biden's were not locked up. I will
and
say
they found it during a raid.
Secure, but
and let's face it, that to me is the big difference. They found it during a raid, and he's being under investigation for obstruction for not wanting to give them back. There's a big difference between any contraband, right?
Yeah.
If you take it to the police station and say, "Hey, I found this," versus they found it when they raided your house. Like it's going to be treated very differently.
When the Biden people called, they said, "We found this, come get it." Like they said that they have
Right.
followed protocol every step of the way. And I follow Dinesh D'Souza, who is a convicted felon who cheated on his wife. I like to point that out whenever I tweet at him.
Sure.
Is like, why is the media covering this so differently? Because of the way the people responded. Trump had been asked for the documents for over a year until they finally had to raid to get them. Biden's people actively called the quote police, the people in charge. That's a big difference right there.
It is a big difference. That said, it's three people who just kind of got a little loose with their regulations regarding how classified documents are kept and being turned back in and all that. That said, since the Trump people went so hard with the lock her up with the documents, now when Trump gets caught with classified documents, the left has to blow it way out of proportion. Did he fuck up with those documents? Absolutely. It's maybe a 2 out of 10 in terms of the crazy shit he's done, but we got to now act like it is the same as when he sicked people on the Capitol. That's just the way it is. There's no ones and twos anymore. It's either zeros or tens. It's either fuck you, he declassified it telepathically with his mind, it is a 0, or this should have him lined up against a wall and shot for high treason. It has to be. We have to go in these crazy patterns. So now that we just got done doing that with Trump over classified documents, now that they've found classified documents, now that his own staff found them sitting in a drawer for a fucking decade, this would not even make the news. This would, even on the world's slowest news cycle day, this would not have been newsworthy had we not just acted like Trump having these documents was the same as him sucking Putin's dick and handing him nuclear codes.
No, I could not agree more. And the fact, and this is an odd one to say, but I'll say it. The fact that they had been, I don't know, I wanted to say undiscovered, but they weren't missed for 10 years. No one was going, hey,
no.
I mean, with the Trump case, as far as I remember, they said, hey, we're missing some documents.
Right.
With Biden, they've been missing and nobody said, where are they? They just sort of, they were like the not important. You did say
it would be sort of like if you're in terms of importance of these classified documents based on what we know, that they sat in some one of his offices he was using when he was like teaching college after being the vice president. It sat in there and nobody knew they were gone. Nobody looked at them. They had to peel 7 layers of dust off this fucking filing cabinet before they went in there. That would be sort of like comparing celebrities. We're going to compare Taylor Swift to, like, I don't know, the drummer from Hanson now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're both technically celebrities, bro, but come on. Like, this is a little crazy. But since
both artists, both musicians, they're both musicians.
Since we just acted like Trump's kind of C-list celebrity was Taylor Swift, now that we found the drummer for Hanson, we have to roll out the red carpet. And so that's what's going on.
You did say at one point, I want to clarify something you said. We have to act like either lined up and shot. I do want to say lined up and shot without a final cigarette, because today smoking is worse than cocaine, as we all know.
That's true. That's true. It would we would maybe give him a vape pen. We'd maybe give him a vape pen. Yeah. But
not a flavored one, because those are aimed at kids, and now they're making those illegal too.
Those are bad. Oh yeah, dude, I am so skeptical of that. I think I smell big tobacco's fucking foot in this the entire way. That's what I think is happening. It's sort of like that Carlin line. We're going to outlaw fake guns, but we're going to keep the real ones. It's sort of like you have a much less bad version of tobacco, but you're going to ban that and keep
Yeah.
the tobacco. It's fucking insane. But I will say, to the double standards of this document shit, when the Mar-a-Lago raid like first happened and Democrats first had to go, this is the craziest thing he's ever done. Like, what do you? No, not even close. Not even top
Yeah. Have you not
25.
been paying attention?
Yeah, no, it's like this guy's out of he's fucking nuts. Maybe if this was former President Mitt Romney had he won, this would be a big deal for Romney.
Right.
It'd be the biggest scandal he's ever been involved in. But no, as they were pretending that in the news, I walked in on my wife watching an episode of The View where they had on Chelsea Manning to plug her book. And I'm like, hey, maybe if we're going to pretend that this guy taking classified documents after he was the president to his office in his home now and locking him up and not showing anybody, maybe we're going to pretend that is like a 10 out of 10. Maybe don't have Chelsea Manning on to plug her book. Maybe don't have somebody who intentionally gave away over, I think it was 800,000 classified documents to WikiLeaks. Like, are you insane? Like, this is, you got three people with Clinton, Biden, Trump, who basically were just a little loose on the protocols with the documents, had no intention of showing them to anybody, didn't show them to anybody. Now you're going to have Chelsea Manning on to plug her book because she's kind of on your side of the aisle, so we don't give a fuck.
That was what I was just going to say. I can guarantee if you were to draw a Venn diagram of people that called Chelsea Manning a hero and who scream that Trump is a traitor and should go to jail for the documents, it is a perfect circle. These same people who are like, Chelsea was standing up for the American people, are the same people screaming that Trump is a traitor.
Yeah. And look, I'm not anti-whistleblower either.
No,
I'm not, because people try to tie a line of this to like Daniel Ellsberg for the Pentagon Papers.
Yeah.
This would be like if Daniel Ellsberg was like, not only am I going to take these Pentagon Papers, I'm going to take all these fucking papers, dude. And I'm just going to give them to Julian Assange. Like, I'm going to take every paper I can find without even being able to look at what's in there. There's going to be names of informants who are currently active. There's going to be all kinds of shit. And I'm just going to give it to a foreign entity. So it's
CIA
like
identities. Yep.
Right. And, that said, 50 years ago, they would have shot her up against a fucking wall for that. I'm not saying they should have done that. It's a bit much. But that said, maybe don't have her on The View to plug her book while you're trying to pretend that some guy that did like not even 1,000th of what she did is the devil for doing so.
It is the worst. Well,
that said, I will give to your point, turning something in, whether it's a classified document or heroin, very different than having it found by the cops. Very different. If I have a kilo of heroin and the cops raid my place today and they find it, I'm going away for a while. It's going to be my last podcast for a while. If I just take one to the police station because I'm like, hey, this is an old kilo of heroin from when I was bad and selling it, but then I like found Jesus and it said on page 7 not to sell kilos of heroin, so I'm giving it to you guys. I found the Lord. They're going to be like, well, this is a weird fucking day. I don't know what forms but yeah, I mean, I guess you're free to go. You just handed it to us. Nobody dragged you in here, so we'll get rid of it. Let us know if you find anything else, and we're certainly going to keep an eye on you. But
I'm having a flash from high school. I knew a guy that graduated a couple of years before me, and he became a cop. And we were sitting around talking one day, and he said, hey, just a heads up. If you ever get caught with pot or drugs or anything in your car, do not say, I was just taking that to my friend's house. It's his. Or that you would just... Do not get caught trafficking. If you get caught with drugs, just say, oh yeah, that's mine. Because the charge for just having drugs,
delivery and distribute.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, holy shit, that's brilliant. He said, yeah, if you ever get caught with drugs, the first thing you do is you think, oh, I better just say it's not mine, but say it's yours, because you will get a lesser offense if you just say it's yours as opposed to trafficking.
No, Your Honor, I'm not a dirty drug user. I'm a dirty drug dealer. Ha. No, it's not as good.
All right, let's stick to the media for story number 2. This tweet blew up, and as of several days ago, we're 4 days ago, it was at 1.6 million views and thousands of retweets. and a lot of people were on her side, but I wasn't on her side. And then people started saying why. Two headlines: Russia's manipulation of Twitter was far vaster than believed, in a story from 2019. And then in a story from 2023, Russian trolls on Twitter had little influence on 2016 voters. And the tweet was, it's the same fucking guy, saying that the reporter first writes that the Russian conspiracy is
Yeah,
vast.
I'm kind of glad you're taking this side. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. And so the point is, the stories can be written by the same guy. They are not contradictory. She's trying to say this reporter's contradicting himself, saying that the Russian conspiracy is vast, and then saying that it didn't matter. They could try really, you can try really, really hard to do something and fail. That is not two different stories. Russia can manipulate on Twitter and put out bots, and in the end, they can study and say, okay, Russia did all this, but it didn't really work. Those are not, I mean, she was trying to say, I thought it was a gotcha moment. It's
Right.
two independent stories that have the same theme. So someone, and it's sad that people are buying into it. It's like, yeah, fuck the media. Like, well, it's two independent thoughts. They tried something, it didn't work like they wanted it to. She's trying to
Yeah.
set it up to as, oh wow, look at what Russia did. Oh, Russia didn't do anything. That's not what he said.
Right. If anything, I'm kind of think it's cool that they were able to kind of switch their position a bit. I think that's a good thing to be able to do.
I don't even know if they switched their position or corrected it. They just pointed out they tried this. They tried really hard. It didn't work as well as they wanted to. I mean, that's not switching your position. That's like saying the Jets made it to the Super Bowl.
Okay,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
lost.
No, I hear what you're saying, man. Yeah, because I was about to kind of mention the same thing, but I think the articles kind of go that way.
Okay.
Russia's one headline. I'm looking at them now. Russia's manipulation over Twitter was far vaster than believed, and then the other one years later is Russian trolls on Twitter had little influence on 2016 voters. Yeah, man, because I was going to say, and I was saying this back then. Like, look,
You were.
are they putting up fucking shit? Yeah, I think there's a lot of bots. I think they're doing a lot of retweeting and reposting and all that. I think people already have their fucking mind made up. It's the same reason I think caucuses in 2023 are fucking dumb at this point. Like the Iowa caucus and stuff, where you just go and fucking debate the candidates before anybody can vote. It's like that made sense back in, you know, the 18 whatevers, when nobody knew who the candidates were because everyone lived miles apart. It's
the Pony Express. Yeah, you didn't have the internet.
Yeah, man. And so you had to have somebody actually explain, like, oh, this is who this Jerry Smith guy is. This is what he stands for. Many of you just heard of him today, so we're going to tell you who he is and what he's about. Now everyone already has their mind made up because everyone's online and shit. So I'm like, I don't, you know, all the people who were sitting there saying after Hillary Clinton lost, oh, well, this is because of Russian bots.
Yeah.
It's sort of it's way dismissive of the other side. It's fucking hubris of your own sort of candidate, your own side's people, because you're sitting there going, well, they were giving all these articles out to sow discord. Didn't affect any of our people, though. We got the smart people. They ain't affected by internet shit.
Our candidate was perfect.
Yeah.
If not for the other people being so stupid, we would have won.
All of our people voted for her because they just rightly know she's the perfect candidate and read 1,000 different sources on the topic and made sure they were peer-reviewed journalists and all this stuff. It's just the other side that tweets fucking shit posts. Like, no, it's not. Is that both sides do it? There was never anybody going, well, this is how many people we think that Russian bots swayed to Trump, minus this many how they swayed for ours with these angry bots. There was none of that. None of that. It was always, it's just them trying to sway it toward one side. And yeah, I think they had a vested interest in wanting that guy in, just to, not because they were in cahoots with him like they were trying to prove for 2 years, but they knew that he would be damaging to the country, and right they were. It's sort of like they were kind of sowing discord, right? So they're gonna tweet anything that makes either side look bad. I mean, they even had fake.
They just want us fighting. That's what they ultimately discovered, is they just wanted us fighting because that's fun for them. It's putting two ants from different hives, a fire ant and a carpenter ant, in and letting them, watching them under a magnifying glass. Like, haha, they're gonna fight.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. And in
We're
that
ants.
sense, it worked. But in terms of like how many, because I would see accounts that I would think were all right, these kind of seem body because they're just reposting weird things. And
Yeah.
when they're actually quote tweeting, the English isn't there. It's like, look how bad Pelosi bitch whore is, you know? It's like, well, that wasn't, you know,
Borat is typing those tweets.
yeah, like what is this, you know? And so, but the thing is you'd see left wing versions of that too,
Yeah.
and because you know what I mean. It's you would, this Trump Donald man is dirty Nazi racist fuck, pig fascism, and you would just be like, what are you, okay, well, there's no verbs or commas or anything in there. That guy, I could have used a few of those, you know what I mean? I get where you're going, you don't like
Yeah.
this guy, but and so the thing is I wouldn't really, and then like they would be reposting just the craziest. It's not like they're doing that with a lot of like CNN, Fox News, and any of that, BBC. It would, a lot of it would tend to be these really sort of fringe news sites that are just posting craziness. And so yeah, I mean, anybody who's, I don't think there was that many people that were actually swayed by that. I think if you're swayed by if you're like, yeah, I'm retweeting Mr. Nancy Pelosi is cunt bitch whore, like you already didn't like her. It's not like you were sitting there like, listen, I had this Nancy Pelosi pin on. I campaigned for her, but I clicked on the article that said Nancy Pelosi is dirty bitch whore, Democrat cunt. And it made some good points. I mean, I don't know who this Alex Jonesville is, but he's swaying me. Like no one was doing that. It wasn't swaying anyone.
I want to go sideways
Preaching
for
to
a
the choir.
second.
That's all it was.
I want to go sideways with this for a second, and I apologize. I'm going to throw a commercial right in the middle of our podcast. Before we started talking, I was telling you about off air about spam emails I get from China that are, like you say, broken English, better English than I can speak Chinese, but you can tell it's
right.
2024 is an election year.
My troll post to Russia about Putin and his
I'm
enemy,
just telling Russia
it
right now. I'm telling, I will copyright for you for money. I'm not doing this out of love or politics. You pay me, and I will turn your Russian bitch whore, Pelosi, whatever. I will add the commas and make it sound nice. You're gonna pay me. I'm not going to provide the content. I'll just edit it. I'm an editor. So
I'll be a
Russia,
Russian bot proofreader.
What's that? Yeah, I'm a proofreader. I'm a proofreader and editor. I'm out there. I'm putting my services up. I'll charge you $100 an hour, and your tweets are going to look magnificent.
Yeah, I don't know what that comes out to in rubles, but I could do that on the weekends and stuff when I'm watching the kids. Sure, I can just proofread some angry Russian bot tweets and make them sound legit,
and then just correct them and send it back, and then they make the adjustments, add the commas where necessary. Yeah,
and I know different I know different news sources that people actually watch here. I'll be like, listen, you can't. Yeah, I know the flat earthers don't like Pelosi, but neither does Fox News. Let's tweet one of those articles.
Yep. All right, that's our new money-making scheme. We're going to proofread for Russian bots.
Let's do it.
And correct them and edit. All right, let's shift, Jake. This might seem odd, but I'm going to do it anyway. Pepsi and Coke are being targeted in a federal probe because I guess all other problems have been solved, and now we're going after Coke and Pepsi in a price targeting. Yeah, they say that Coke and Pepsi are dominating the market, and what they are doing is lowering prices. I read it and I lost it, but in summation, they're making Coke and Pepsi more expensive in smaller markets or cheaper, and they're trying to drive out the competition.
They're trying to basically they're
antitrust
their competition in big in bigger markets, so that like the sad fellas at the once great RC Cola cannot compete with these guys.
Well,
you ever have Surge from the 90s, and you never will again. No, not with this fucking corruption going on.
I had a thought. Now I'm trying to wonder why I in my brain, I had a reason for sending you this article. The idea is that shouldn't Coke and Pepsi be taxed like alcohol and cigarettes, where alcohol and cigarettes have a sin tax attached to them because they're bad for you, and they send the extra money to education and healthcare. Fucking soda is as awful for you as either of those. Why are we allowing them to, undercut and dominate the market? Like, oh no, you're going to get diabetes from Coke instead of RC Cola. Like, this is what we're worried about is the price. fucking tax the shit out of it. Make it so that people can't drink the shit because they shouldn't be in the first place. Coke should be a once a week treat for yourself, not a 5 cans a day, caffeine sugar buzz.
Yeah, I mean, let me just say, I don't like your preachy tone with this because I did just drink a Monster Energy drink before this podcast. So, like, I can't. What am I gonna? Am I gonna sit here and preach? Am I gonna be the Republican congressman outlawing gay marriage while tapping fellas' feet underneath airport stalls here? No, that ain't gonna be me. But I will say that, yeah, I read I did read an article the other day that said way more kids get diabetes from soda than they do from booze and cigarettes. That's true.
Yeah, I mean it's 100% empty calories, no nutritional value. Now down here they're talking about pricing again. They want to make a law that say that they offer discounts to large chains. Isn't that just called bulk pricing? Because it says critics of the law that's being proposed would boost small business, but it would also raise prices at the largest chains, thereby harming consumers.
I I know what you're saying. I see what you're saying in that they should be able to remain competitive, but there were situations where you basically had people becoming monopolies because what they could do is charge normal prices in some area, but then in a few key areas, you charge so little that the rest, because you're dealing with economies of scale, right?
Yeah.
The rest of your profits would cover it to where you could sell at a loss in Walmart, let's say.
Yeah.
I'm selling at a loss. I'm not making money directly off the sales in Walmart. Why? Because RC and Mr. Pibb and now Mr. Pibb's kids are starving because I did that in Walmart. And now that, like Mr. Pibb's daughter is selling her body for fucking heroin now.
She's on OnlyFans.
Yeah. You can see some Pibb pussy right now for like $10 a month. It's crazy.
But okay, I hear you. You know what you made me think of?
Drive out the competition and become a monopoly. It doesn't seem like it's one of those things that it doesn't get enforced because it's not the kind of thing that's widely done, because you have to have such a massive just sort of operation going in the rest of the country and world to where you can afford to do this, that it just doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah. I had two thoughts. I'm not sure they're intertwined. One is what you did make me think of was Amazon. I read an article on diapers.com when the .com thing was happening. Diapers said, you know what, we're just going to be a diaper website. We're going to offer diapers at a good price to people and deliver them to your door. It's great for moms that don't have time to shop because they got little babies at home. Amazon actively said, fuck you, diapers.com. We're going to sell our diapers at a loss. We are going to actively lose money on diapers so people buy them from us until you're out of business. And that's what happened. They drove and then they raised their prices but they
once they're out, then it goes back up. That's not a
then it went right back up. The other thought I had was,
I will say real quick to that point. Yeah. That's why Amazon can get away with that shit that they do, is because they're not selling it in Walmart and Kmart and Target. If they were doing it there to fuck over another diaper company, that would be different. Like that would fall under this, but they're doing it. I mean, that law kind of was written before
the internet
like Amazon is it, to where it's like, oh no, you don't understand. I am the Walmart as well. Like I'm the diaper company and the Walmart and now the post office, and I'm just selling it to me. So I can do that.
Yeah. The other thought I had, and I'm not sure where to take this, but you can spitball and run with it. It is good. I don't know. Like I go back to the health ramifications of soda, but the idea that the federal government, I don't know if it's overcorrecting or maybe it is just money, but the idea that they let Oxycontin and the Sacklers run riot for years, just like, oh, you guys can do whatever you want. We're going to rubber stamp anything you want. And then, like we're going after Coke and Pepsi. Maybe it's related, but it's not related because they're not saying Coke and Pepsi are bad for us. They're just doing price. I just think that's interesting that the government, it says it's consumers will be hurt. You're hurting people by allowing them to drink Coke and take opioids. You really don't have the consumer's best interest at heart. You're just worried about pricing, and that's interesting to me.
But it is. I mean, what about the ma and pa soda companies? You look what these monsters at Pepsi and Coke did to the people at Faygo Cola. They only get sprayed on juggalos' naked bodies now. It's fucking crazy. They only get paid. they only get paid when the gathering of the Juggalo is happening because people need to throw them at each other there. And it's sad what's happened to them.
But that's actually good marketing. What Fago did. How do you say it? I know which one you're talking
Oh,
about.
Fago.
Fago. I
Fago is a slur.
Niche niche marketing. That's what they did. They said,
Yep.
we're not going for the big Walmart customers. We're going to target, and they won
100%.
the Juggalo crowd. See if Coke can bust into that market right now. No, they're gonna fucking lock arms like a union textile company in North Carolina in the 70s, and like, no, keep Coke out of our Juggalo gathering. We're Fiago all the way. I still can't say it. Fago.
Fago.
I keep throwing the homophobic slur in there, not on purpose.
Yeah. He's gonna cancel himself for
There's no
accidentally
G. It's
for not being down
Fiago.
with
The Y goes before. I don't know. All right,
Fago,
let's jump
Fago.
stories.
Think like Faye, like the name, and then
Faye?
go. Like Faye, go to the
Fago.
Insane Clown Posse show.
I keep putting the G in front.
And then you get Fago. Dude, how awesome would it be if at the next gathering of the Juggalos, Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope just completely sold out and started spraying Coke and Pepsi on each other?
Not just spraying it, but dropping a Mentos in and then spraying it so that it.
Yeah. And they just, their whole backdrop is just like the Coca-Cola polar bears and stuff. And they just completely, I like Coca-Cola, y'all, because it tastes so good. And they just completely, they start singing songs about Coke, and their fans are like, what the fuck, dude? Well, I drove 7 days to be here.
I want to know if the fans would what the fuck, or if they would just fall in line. Like 1984, where we have always been at war with East Asia. Nope, we've always been at war with Oceania, where once you change the narrative, people just fall in line. Or do they revolt?
The only way it works with them, it would have to be something so fucking extreme. He would have to, one of those guys would have to, like, I don't know, put hooks through his chest and suspend himself in air while the other one branded the Coca-Cola symbol onto it. Like, if it was something fucking nuts, I think they'd be down with it. Because now it's like an irony thing, but like it's so fucking over the top, that you're doing such crazy shit with such a mainstream thing. It might kind of work for those guys, but I think what would happen is they would descend on them and cannibalize them.
All right. We have 2 stories
while
left.
Drinking Fago.
We have 2 stories left. One, I just want to hit on. It'll be my clickbait story of the week. California storms erase extreme drought from nearly all of state. And you're like, holy crap. In a single week, portions of California classified as experience extreme drought fell from 27.1% to 0.32%. Yay, rain. And then you actually look at the article. Yeah, the state, you look at the map, it fell from extreme drought to severe drought. It's still fucked. And every article I've read said, no, California is still completely fucked, especially when it comes to summer. But it's
this
like,
drought is only severe. Time for a super soaker fight. Who gives a shit?
Here's the story I sent you this morning. Jake, we spend a lot of time talking about frivolous lawsuits, and that's why I love this. A former X Factor contestant studied law so she could sue Simon Cowell's company after the show, quote, almost ruined my life. Now this is England, and I don't know much about law here, much less there, but I just like the fact.
I know you got to have, someone has to have a white wig.
Have a wig on.
I know that.
I just love the fact that instead of just calling a lawyer and saying, I want to sue Simon Cowell, and a lawyer going, yeah, fuck it, let's get a settlement, she actively went to university and studied law and is not, fucking get her. Good on you.
She's like the little engine of frivolous lawsuits. Jesus, I couldn't say that. But yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's frivolous. Katie Wasil, 36, she said they paid her £1, because what they do is they do not classify contestants as employees. They figure it's a trade, like, oh, you're going to be on TV, so you're going to get famous, so we don't really have to pay you.
No, it's true.
Yeah, it is true, but they edited it to make her the bad guy. I don't know. I don't watch British television besides the original Office and Monty Python and
that's a weird one. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I definitely feel bad for her, but in terms of like a legal sense, like if that's the deal you knew going in,
yeah, if you signed up for it and said I want to be on TV,
if you signed up for it, yeah, and I would feel worse for her. Do you know what season of the show? Like, had American Idol or whatever this bullshit was? I can't stand these shows. Had that been 2010. So that had been going on for a good long while. Yeah, you know what that show is by that point. If this is the first couple seasons, I kind of get it. Or if maybe they didn't do that in the first couple seasons, but now come around to season 4, Simon Cowell's got his shirt on and he's getting cunty with people. By 2010, people kind of knew what was up with that.
Let me tell you a quick story because we only have 2 minutes left. When I moved to Los Angeles, I appeared on an episode of Blind Date. I only saw it when they put it on YouTube and it keeps getting yanked down. Let me be clear. I said and did everything that they showed on air.
Right.
But what they didn't show is off camera, the producer would needle me and be a dick to me until I sort of snapped and was like, fuck, like whatever. And then they would catch the reaction. And then they edited the show to make me the bad guy. And I'm okay with that. I'm not complaining. The instant I saw it, I went, oh, I get what they did. Oh, you tricksters. So they do have creative control. They do whatever they want. And they manipulated the ending. Wait, let me just finish quickly. They manipulated the shit out of the ending. I don't have time to tell you everything, but I had a girlfriend when I went on Blind Date, and I got permission from her to go on the blind date. And she said, just as long as you don't make out with her, that's fine. I'm like, I'm not even going to kiss her. I just want to go on and be whatever. So at the end, they took an hour to convince the girl that she hated me. And then they sat and took an hour to convince me to say, I don't really want to see her again. Fine. And they're like, just say you want to see her. I'm like, I suppose I wouldn't mind hanging out with her again. And boom, that's the take they use.
Yeah.
So it's like, like at the end, it looks like I really loved her and I wanted to date her and she hated me, when in reality, we just didn't click. I mean, it is. So this woman is right. They do manipulate, but I signed up and I knew that going in. I didn't know they would do it to the extent they did, but I also don't care. It didn't hurt
when you
my
also
feelings.
Didn't know the show. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, we know what American Idol is. We know they do that shit to people. That's a famous show by 2010.
It was.
Whereas the Blind Date isn't,
Visit it's not even on. It wasn't even syndicated.
Right. As you kind of know the genre.
The one thing I will say that pissed me off about them, the one thing was when it was all over, they said, all right, we're going to shoot you a call or an email when your episode airs. And I went, cool. And then I never heard from them again. And then I started getting notifications from friends. Dude, did I just see you on Blind Date? I'm like, what? They didn't fucking tell me they aired it. And then years later, someone put it on YouTube and I finally saw it. And I'm like, holy shit, they made me look horrible.
Right. That's why. Yeah, you know what? I read that the directors of Blind Date are actually now making true crime docs and getting people freed based on the way they spun the story.
Alien invasion docs on the reality of UFOs and yes.
They're telling you how the pyramids was made for real.
The producer on mine he spent all day bragging about how he had worked on the Osbournes. I'm like, ooh, like, yay.
You should be too proud of that.
Yeah.
I've seen that show.
All right. Visit JakeVevra.com. Visit NathanTimmel.com. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Thank you for listening on wherever we are, Spotify, SoundCloud. And thank you for listening on Chicago's Comedy Scene Radio.
Chicago.
Goodbye.
Later.